Hey, what's going on? It's Matt. It is Friday. It is time for another My Two Cents. This is the weekly series where I basically babble and I talk about things that are on my mind. Now, it's meant to start a conversation, but it's also meant to get out some things that are on the top of my head that are not necessarily pleasing me, but they're not necessarily bothering me. It's just to talk, really, and to start a conversation, like I said. So today, I really want to talk about pedal kayaks. Now, I did a thing about motorized kayaks a while back, and I probably should have tagged the pedal in there, but in my opinion, those are two different mindsets when it comes to kayak fishing. And I specifically want to talk about my pedal kayak journey. Now, you're probably saying, what journey, you dumbass? You're not in a pedal kayak, you're still paddling. Well, that's my whole point. Like, I've gone back and forth for God knows how long on whether or not I want a pedal or a paddle kayak. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I want to stay a paddler. And here's why. Now, pedal kayaks serve a great purpose and they're fantastic. And to reiterate what I've said in the past, I firmly believe that if I had a pedal kayak, I would not go farther or I would not go faster to my current fishing hole. I might explore a tad bit more, but the reason why you get a pedal kayak is simply for positioning. It's positioning of the boat in high winds, in current. But the more and more that I really started thinking about this, and believe me, I ran down the list from looking at the Coosa FD, the Cruise FD, the Slayers, the Titans, and the only thing I ever look at is Hobie because I just don't like Hobies. I think Hobie has a horrible drive system, and I'll just clarify by saying that like anything that you have to pop into reverse is just not worth it in my opinion. But all that being said, and Feel Free, of course, Feel Free came out with their drive system. We all know how I feel about that dilemma. Anyway, so the more and more I thought about it, I was like, I should test out a couple of pedal drive kayaks, and I'm in the process, as long as I get my button gear, on getting my hands on a Coosa FD and testing it out for a weekend, and giving my kind of overall thoughts, and there'll be videos on that coming up. But when I really sit down and I really think about it, one of the greatest things that comes into factor when deciding to get a pedal or paddle kayak is where you fish the most. Now, because of my location, I fish the California Delta, and if you're not from here, the California Delta is grass, it is rock, it is obstructions that you can't see, and it's tidal. So, 2 hours that you're fishing one spot, you might not see that stump, and then 3 hours later when the tide goes down, or 2 hours later when the tide goes down, there's that stump. So there's hidden treasures, so to speak, all throughout the California Delta. And since the pedal kayak craze has really kicked into full gear with, I'd probably say within the last year and a half, the majority of people that I fish with now are actually in a pedal kayak. And every time I fish the Delta with them, there are certain spots of the Delta where I will turn around and I'll look and I'll see out of the corner of my eye, and their drive will be pulled up because it's a shallow environment and there's just too much weeds to clean off. So my journey through this whole process has been back and forth, but I want to pose the question to you. If you fished a tidal, not a river system, I'm talking about literally a tidal body of water that had a ton of rock and stumps that could not be seen, and a ton of vegetation, what do you think would be better? Like a pedal or a paddle kayak? And I really, think that most of us will answer paddle. The positioning of the boat in high winds is something that, I will have to work around regardless if I have a pedal or paddle kayak. I feel that with a paddle kayak, you can do that a little bit better because you can actually throw yourself into like a bank or into a Thule system and basically have that boat positioned and don't have to pull up your drive, which actually, at the end of the day, takes up a decent amount of your deck. Now, will I ever get a pedal kayak? Yes, I will. My goal right now is to enjoy the things that I have right now and to be very appreciative of the things that I have, although I think my Feel Free lure might be done. And I will talk about that after this weekend, after I go fishing, because I think my lure might be done, to be honest with you. Different conversation. So, Will I ever get a pedal kayak? Yes, I'll get a pedal kayak, but I think I'll get it as long as I have a paddle kayak that I can still use. Now, when looking at new kayaks right now, I went from looking at all those pedal drives that I just mentioned to now I'm like honed in on the Bonafide SS127 because I think it's just a fantastic boat, and I've test paddled it for like maybe 15 minutes. And I need to get more time on it, but the 15 minutes that I was in, it was no wind and it was pretty good, but I know it needs a rudder. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So that's my sense on a pedal kayak. They serve a purpose. They're for positioning, but I don't think they're for me. And I don't think they're for people who fish systems like the California Delta or even a river system. So if you're out in the market for a kayak right now, kind of like how I am haphazardly looking for a kayak, don't just get a pedal kayak because everybody else has one. Don't buy into the fact that they're better. They're not. And sometimes they're worse. They're actually worse in a lot of situations. And I'll be honest with you, the last two KBF national champions were paddlers. It says a lot, right? And I think also too, one of the things that's the beautiful thing about kayak fishing, when I got out of a boat and got into a kayak, is that your fishing area is slower and your working area is slower because you just don't have the capacity to go super fast. In a pedal kayak, I see a lot of the guys that are in pedals, they just blow by stuff that they should be fishing. That's my 2 cents on this stuff. It's more about me. It's not about you. Don't take it personally. Anyway. Thanks for watching these things. Hey, do me a favor, like and subscribe if you haven't already done that. Leave a comment down below on what kind of kayak you're in and what should my next 2 cents be about. Thanks. Peace.